Hello and welcome back everyone, I'm Day-Glo Buffalo and this is Let's Play Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars, the Director's Cut. When we last left off, we were in the hallway of a hospital trying to find one of the patients that we have to talk to. Now it's been a little while since I last played, so I don't remember the name of the actual patient that we have to talk to. But, well, I'm sure the game will funnel us to him. But first we've got this person who's buffing the floors that we can talk to, so I guess we'll get that out of the way.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
For somebody buffing the floor in a hospital in Paris, he's got a remarkably British accent. So, those are the goons outside the hotel.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shinee? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Right then, Mr. Shinee.
Would Mr. Shinee be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shinee for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
Right.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shinee. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you? I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shinee his weekly pull-through.
Right. Sure.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquee?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shinee.
So, well, Marquee obviously is the guy that we're looking for, so we can ask him about the stuff that we have. Well, let's start over here with the cocaine.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh!
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Right.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's.
How can you tell the difference?
What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C.
Right.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I've washed, if you don't mind, sir.
Actually, that seems like a very good idea, especially in these times.
Would this tool be any use to you?
No, sir. Mr. Shinee has no user-serviceable parts. Whatever that means.
That's how they get you on the maintenance fees.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never, ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do. They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Okay. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. but if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
What do you think of this, Sam?
Oh, boy! What is it?
A priceless gemstone found in a medieval castle in Ireland. Get me into Marquee's ward, and it's yours.
I don't wear jewellery.
If this gem was yours, you'd be able to buy 100 Mr. Shinies.
Don't be silly. There's only one Mr. Shiny.
Besides, we need that thing. So, that was all the dialogue we can have with this guy, and none of it was particularly useful.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
And the annoying noise is back. So let's see what else. We can go that way. Oh, that just takes us back. Oh.
Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
So obviously we want to go in there. Oh, there's something else over here. And then we can go out there. So, is this... That might... Yeah, that looks like a plug. So it might be Mr. Shiny's lead that goes all the way over there.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Uh-huh. Maybe that'll distract
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
Yeah, that seems to distract them, so maybe now we can get into this. I guess it's the janitor's closet, if he's responsible for what's in it, but I can't... Oh, now we can. That took long enough. Oh, okay. So, now we have actually disguised ourselves as a doctor, maybe? And here we are in the ward.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse.
You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay. Didn't the woman at the reception say that the nurse in this ward was like really, really terrible? She seems perfectly friendly and sensible.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
I guess he's not telling too many jokes.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good.
Oh, what is lost to the world?
Do you have a patient named Marquee on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Good, I guess? Maybe?
Why is Marquee in quarantine?
If you wish to know more, you'll have to speak to Herr Hagenmeier. All I know is that Marquee's room is strictly out of bounds.
So who is Herr Hagenmeier? And where do I find him?
Do you know who paid for Marquee's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
So she doesn't recognize, Merlin. That was his name.
Does this mean anything to you?
The Club à la Mout? I've never heard of it.
Maybe it's not in Paris. Nobody has heard of the place.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
What is this?
What is this device?
It's for taking the patient's blood pressure, doctor.
Okay, well, that was a stupid question for him, and yeah, I guess I can kinda see it, but they maybe could have come up with a better icon. Anyway, so we need
Thank
the
you,
private
nurse.
room.
Au revoir, monsieur.
As I said, she seems perfectly lovely. So that's the private room.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
Yeah, he's supposed to put it on his arm.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe never did it like that.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later.
You know, George is not the sharpest tool in the shed, is he? So can we now go?
Oh, doctor.
What now?
You didn't finish taking my blood pressure.
So,
Okay, let's try again.
You don't have the first idea what you're doing, do you?
I'll come back when you've recovered your manners.
even I recognize that. So he can't look at his chart, can't take anything off his bedside table, can only talk to
Hello?
him.
Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it.
You know, whatever else he's doing, you shouldn't really be screwing with patients like that.
What can you tell me about Marquee?
He's the man in the private room, isn't he? That room was mine before I was tossed out like a common squatter.
Do you know what's wrong with Marquee?
They won't even say what's wrong with me. Tell me, doctor, what's your opinion?
It's too early to say.
But I've been here for 3 months.
Well, it normally takes about 6 months to get a correct diagnosis.
What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
As I said, she seemed perfectly lovely.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
I'm not really a nightclub man, doctor.
Yeah, I don't think...
I'll
Let's-
come back later.
Can we try and use this on her?
Hi, it's me again. I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Why?
I'm a doctor. It's my job.
He's still not doing it right.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
I'll come back later.
Can we talk to the nurse again?
Pardon me, nurse.
Oui, monsieur?
No, we can't.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
And we can't get past him. Can we maybe talk to the doctor outside and, I don't know, get him to do it or something? Okay, there's two of them now. Oh, no, we can walk down that way? Wait, no, I wanna...
Excuse me, sir.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bunny, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
I guess so.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
That sounds kind of odd. But maybe we can get him. So, does this guy follow us now? Yes, apparently he does. Maybe we can get him to the blood pressure measurement. So...
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Yes, sir?
So what's your name, kid?
Benoit, they call me Bunny.
Bunny? Jeez, and you don't mind?
Oh, I've gotten used to it.
Okay, Benoit, you're gonna help me.
Anything you say, sir.
Benoit, of course.
Do you know anything about a patient named Marquee?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Shut up, Benoit.
Okay, sir.
She's, of course, standing right next to them. So... maybe can
Follow
we...
me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
If we give him the blood pressure gauge...
Hey, Benoit!
Yes, sir?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something.
Okay.
Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
So we gave it to him. How do we get him to use it on
Hey,
the
Benoit.
patient?
Yes, sir?
Oh.
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Here we go. So that should be the patient. No, don't measure the nurse's blood pressure.
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
And of course, he's standing in front of the camera so that they don't need the custom animation, but we can finally get through. And who is this guy?
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
I take it this is Marche's room.
Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How is the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Fair enough.
Have you heard of a guy called Marquee?
He's in quarantine, doc, right behind this here door.
Marquee is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
Right.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks.
So can we go in now?
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc.
Yes, we can.
Marquee?
Yes, I am Marquee. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassin.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster quickly. Tell him that I have found the tripod right here in Paris.
What, you have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them as for Klausner. He has gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquee. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquee is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeyer was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquee anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
Back in Nico's
Hello,
apartment.
George.
All right. So we didn't really find out that much from Marquee. I mean, he hired Guido and Flap to steal the tripod, but the tripod is still in the museum, I think. So we don't want to look at the scroll again.
I found Jacques Marquee.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window.
What the? Who is that?
Have you ever heard of the Hashi Ashin?
No.
Marquee said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again.
Maybe he just pronounced assassin kind of weird?
Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquee?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquee would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Do you want to look after the gem?
No, George. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
So I guess we're
I
off.
guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rousseau or Sergeant Mou? Oh, but you're referring to Andre.
I'll let you work it out.
Blah, blah, blah. Marquee's in the local hospital. I'll head right over there. Marquee thought it was some sort of assassin. Seems someone is trying to stop him reforging a sword. When did he talk about that? I missed that. He wanted me to deliver the gem to some guy called the Grand Master. Marquee said those two thugs from the hotel would try to steal the tripod. He also mentioned someone called Klausner, who the assassin might have followed to Syria. Very confusing. But before I could get any explanation, I was ordered out by a doctor, who wasn't a real doctor because he then murdered Marquee. These people certainly don't mess around. And that's all the info we have. Can we still go back to Ireland? That's kind of weird. That's right, the museum. That's the word I was looking for. So, new guy. Who's the new guy?
I beg your pardon. Are you Andre Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No, I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobart. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay, shoot.
Well, let's just start on one side.
Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure, it was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived.
And we got more conversation options.
Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, there are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much. Only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
Okay.
Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, Andre.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to their ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Or, if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
He is a wealth of information, and it seems like this conversation is going to go on for a while, so I think, let's try and back out of this conversation.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
And I'll interrupt this video here, and we'll continue the conversation with Andre in the next video. So for now, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or a comment below, subscribe to stay up to date, and I will see you in the next part. So until then, have a good one.